Welcome to the Growing Your Business podcast. This is the show that dives into the big question, what's in it for me, for both the business and its customers? On each episode, we sit down with a business owner or leader to uncover their why, their values, and the stories that drive them to grow their business. This episode is sponsored by Russ Birch, commercial banker with Frost Bank in Plano, Texas. On today's episode of Growing Your Business with Buddy Broyles, Liz James is joining me in the studio, and we're going to talk about her business, goodmedicine.info. Liz, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
I'm thrilled to have you here. I want to know, what is good medicine?
So good medicine actually is not necessarily medicine.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Elaborate.
Yeah. So I am a pharmacist. I quit my behind-the-counter job back in 2020. And that was after probably about 18 years of doing other things besides pharmacy, like for myself and my family. And then it evolved into my friends and all of that. After I had woken up to the fact that good medicine is, in fact, not usually medicine.
Okay.
Okay.
So tell me more about that. So what was the awakening? As in, what was the catalyst to that epiphany?
Okay, so the catalyst was back when I was 33, and I fell and broke my wrist. And at that time, I had a bone density scan done, and the doctor said, "Oh, by the way, you're osteopenic." Which means that it's a precursor to osteoporosis. So you know what that means. Right.
I'd say for those that don't, elaborate.
Okay, so it's basically means your bones are thinning.
Oh, goodness.
And you're setting yourself up for needing medication very soon so that your bones will stop doing that, so that you don't end up fracturing more anytime you fall or bump or whatever. And so here I was counting my pills, with my cast on, and I had two different ladies at two different times come to me while I'm counting their pills, and they're saying, "Oh no, you should be drinking raw milk." They just saw my cast. And I was like, the first lady said it, and I was like, And in my like, kept my face plain.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, do they not know how dangerous that is? And then the second lady, who was not related to the first lady, a couple weeks later, she came and said the exact same thing. And I heard the Lord say, "I just told you once. I'm telling you twice. Pay attention." And so I did some research. I bought a book called The Untold Story of Milk. It changed my life. That particular book did. And when I emerged after reading that book, I was like, oh my gosh, the dairy industry has not been truthful. What other industries have not been truthful?
Oh, wow.
And that was, so that started out the dairy industry. And of course, then I looked at the food industry. Mind you, this was 25 years ago. And so after the dairy industry and then the food industry and water and everything else, and I was like, what about pharmacy? And that's like, that was my bread and butter.
Yeah.
And so I started doing some really deep dives in pharmacy and realizing that, 90% of medication or more is not necessary. We can do things other ways. And that just set the tone, and it set the snowball, I'll just say, rolling down the hill. And so over the last 25 years, I'd been educating myself in other ways that pharmacy school did not educate me. And then when I started coming out, my pharmacy people were like, "What are you still doing here?" But they were asking me questions too.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And even during COVID, because I hadn't, I quit in 2020, in the fall of 2020, pharmacy.
Yeah.
But in like even early on in 2020, and even after I quit, I had pharmacists, pharmacy technicians, all of these people calling me saying, "What do you think about this?" And because they knew I had done the alternative research.
Right.
That wasn't what was being publicized.
That's interesting.
So,
and having that full education as a pharmacist, I mean, that's no joke. Not everybody can be a pharmacist. It's a lot of work, from my understanding.
Yeah.
A lot of studying, and then, of course, a lot of rigor. Because you're dealing with medication and any misjudgment of that. So from what I understand about that industry,
Very true.
is your constant research, constant learning, and so you took that further once you left the pharmacy industry to create good medicine. Tell me about what your mission is.
So my mission is really to safely lead people to truth, and with that, hopefully help them heal. That's one of the things that I saw in pharmacy was that people were not healing with regular medication. If you're on regular medication, the road does not end well. I mean, that's just a fact. So, and again, there is a time and a place for Western medicine, but by and large, there is so much we can do outside of Western medicine that should be tried first before just taking somebody else's word for it just because they have a degree, and that's called informed consent. And really, my job is taking what I know in pharmacy and in Western medicine, also knowing alternative therapies, and say, here's your options. How would you choose? But being able to also say, these are some of the side effects you can expect, and the reality is there's many fewer side effects if you're doing it. Kind of like it's like the food industry. There's fast food and slow food. Which one is better?
Right.
Slow food is better.
Yeah.
And it's the same way. People want a quick.
I thought that was rhetorical, so I
Yes.
didn't answer.
Yes,
but
yeah.
The obvious answer is the way we've been doing it for so long. I mean, we all know fast food is not. Okay, I wouldn't say we all know. A common thought in the people that I know is fast food is a quick caloric Band-Aid, but it's not a long-term solution.
It's going to come back and bite you
within
in the butt,
hours.
literally.
Sometimes, yeah. Your body does not want. It's not from my vantage point. At my age, especially, I'm 53. Fast food is pretty much out of the question because it'll destroy me. Yeah,
I'm older than you.
But anyway, you were saying. So.
Yeah. So but that's the thing is like we are in a society where it's like quick response, and I don't have to be responsible. But the reality is, your body is your temple, and you are the keeper of your temple. You are responsible, whether you want to be or not. It's your body, and you have the right to make the choice of what you do and don't want to do. But so many people, they don't know. They don't even know that they have options. And they also think that they're like, well, I have insurance, so I have to use I have to use a doctor, or I have to go this way. But again, the reality is like you can pay the farmer or you can pay the pharmacist. And overall, like through the course of your life, it's cheaper to pay the farmer.
Right. Because the cost of doing it wrong, or
not
healing,
healing. It's like we're not just talking about money at this point. We're talking about lifespan. We're talking about health span. We're talking about time. I mean, how do you want to spend the last greater
decade.
Portion of your life?
Yeah.
Well, 20 years, or the last 20 years of your life.
Right.
How do you want to spend that?
Yeah.
And I think everybody should go out in a blaze of glory.
Right.
So,
yeah. But ideally feeling good.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Not miserable.
That's
right.
what I mean.
Yeah.
That's the blaze of glory.
Yeah.
Is like, you go out finishing strong.
Right.
So
on goodmedicine.info, what are some low-level things that someone who is interested can start doing today? What would you recommend? Just out of, I mean, imagine the simple things are obviously drink more water. I would assume, depending on the source and whatnot. But what are things we're all getting wrong that when we're not informed as you are?
So I guess some of the things that I would say is don't just take status quo as being okay. I mean, you can look around and see that our society, like health-wise, is not doing well. We're the sickest as a society. We're the sickest we've ever been. The other thing is, and this, I don't know, this might sound a little odd, but maybe try throwing this out there. Just maybe try eating more naturally.
Yeah, that doesn't sound odd at all.
No.
But it's like, natural stuff might be better for you. Yeah. Who knew? Everybody before a few generations ago.
I mean, some of the simplest things is like, and you don't even have to cook. for the large part of what you eat. Eat on the outside of the grocery store. If you look at your labels, just look at them, and if you don't even have to know what they mean, but if it's something you can't pronounce, then you probably shouldn't be eating it. The other thing is, I I I deal in mind, body, and spirit. And for me, that's Holy Spirit. And people usually come to me because they're physically sick. And as we're unpeeling the layers, almost always there's an emotional component. And oftentimes there's also a spiritual component too. And if you're not healthy in all three areas, then there will be trickle over into the other two.
Right.
So that's something else. Um, the other thing is, like, if you're having a hard time getting out of where you are, you might do an environmental kind of self check and look and see, like, am I with people that are trying to be healthy, or am I with people that also maybe don't seem to care about their outcome? Because if that's the case, then maybe it's time to branch out, and get brave, and step into areas where you see people that you want to be like.
Yeah. It's almost the fight or flight response in a way.
Yeah.
You either fight as in lift up the people around you, be an inspiration, or find different people. It's kind of the same deal.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, it's like, what an impact that you could potentially make on your circle of people, and I've seen it happen over and over again, where in working with people, that actually are a lot of my referrals, is like, well, what happened? What did you do? So, yeah, I mean, like, everybody has an impact on everybody else.
Stay with us. The Growing Your Business podcast will return right after this.
A woman in Austin was depositing a cashier's check at the bank, but she deposited it right into a storm drain. The frost banker found another way in. Time out! So he went into the hole, like a cave diver.
A real spelunker of the streets.
What about the check?
It's money in the bank.
Ka-ching!
Ka-chang.
Ready to amplify your brand's voice? At Blue Mike Studios, we transform your ideas into captivating podcasts and videos. Whether you're launching your own show or guest starring on ours, we've got you covered. From recording and editing to social media promotion. With state-of-the-art 4K video and crystal clear audio, your content will shine. We offer guest packages on our podcasts and offer segments from the show for you to share. Or let us help you build your own branded podcast with custom strategy, branding, and full production support. Visit BlueMikeStudios.com today and let your voice be heard. Please check our show notes for sponsorship links and additional details. Now, back to the Growing Your Business podcast with Buddy Broyles. I want to go back to what you said because it did, I heard it, and I know others did as well who are listening, is the outside of the grocery store. And as soon as I thought about it, because we mostly go, right through the middle, but the outside, if I'm thinking correctly, is meat, cheese, or dairy, and then vegetables and fruits. And those are always from any grocery store. I'm thinking locally there's a Sprouts near me.
Yeah.
And when I enter, that's more or less what I'm seeing is that. Is that what you were referring to?
That's exactly right. Yeah. If you stick to the outside of the grocery store, you'll do far better. And there's some other, I'll just say, hacks or tips. Like, if you're not, here's like, I don't know what to do. It's like, first things first, just cut out high fructose corn syrup. I mean, if you did nothing else but cut that out, it would have a profound impact on your body.
And that's on every label if you just look on the back. And that's usually one of the first ingredients, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's high up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if it's a drink.
Yeah.
It's unless you're really looking. And there are some, I'm not saying do totally away with soda pop, because there's some really great pops or sodas now that don't have any high fructose corn syrup in it. I mean, it's okay for a treat. It's
Right.
not something you want to drink, every day.
Yeah.
But
That's great. I'd say for people who want to reach out to you, the main site, the best way to find you is goodmedicine.info?
Goodmedicine.info.
Or are there other ways that you'd prefer they contact you?
Well, that's probably the best way
It's
if
all there.
somebody wants to set up time to visit. So my initial visit, I offer a free 20-minute consult.
Oh, wonderful.
Just to like say, am I a good fit for you? Are you a good fit for me?
And let's talk about what happens next. Let's say we did that and,
Okay.
and we're a good fit. What are the experiences that that are part of your service?
Okay, so depending on the situation, we would sit down and kind of figure out what you wanted from me.
Yeah.
Like what are your goals, right? And then from there, if it's actually a physical issue, we would do some deep dive findings on root causes. We may do some lab work. I do offer lab work analysis, and I can order labs.
Oh, great.
And I've been doing that for several years, probably about 12 years now. And I love doing that. Like it's
That
like
involves a blood draw, as in
It
what
does.
you would expect.
I don't draw the blood.
But you can send us to
Yes.
somebody
Yeah.
that does that for
Yeah,
us. Okay.
yeah. But I can set up the order, and then it really is like putting a life puzzle together, because I take people's symptoms and their past history, and you can tell a lot from the blood. Putting those pieces together, and I get a lot of personal satisfaction out of saying we found it.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And then I also do something, because you can't tell. One of the biggest problems is pain medicine, right? So many people are in so much pain, and doctors are very quick to hand out the NSAIDs or hand out the opioids or whatever it is that's for pain, but not actually getting to the problem of pain. And again, God brings me information through my own misfortune in a positive way. But I had an accident back in 2015 and nearly lost my left foot. And during my recovery process, I met a woman. I was on crutches, non-weight bearing, and I met a woman who did some work on my scar back in 2015. And at that point, I learned about the importance of your body's energy and the impedance that scars cause. And from that, I drove down to San Antonio and I started taking classes on something called Dolphin MPS, which is micropoint stimulation. It works off of meridians. It works off of a body's energy. But scars can bring energy down. They can cause pain, not at the point of the scar, but you can also they can cause it at the point of the scar, but they can also cause it elsewhere. So I've been able, using that, if somebody comes in and is having back pain, maybe they had a C-section, we release that scar on the C-section, and a lot of times the back pain goes away, or an ankle scar and it's a shoulder pain or whatever. So I have several modalities that help with pain management, sometimes even help eliminate pain, and none of them are habit forming.
Interesting. So, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I bet it's fascinating. So I look forward to, I'm going to go to the site myself. So goodmedicine.info for all the range of services and the things you can help people heal.
Yep.
And I appreciate you coming on the show today, Liz.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
This episode was sponsored by Russ Birch, commercial banker with Frost Bank, Plano, Texas. Thank you for joining us today on the Growing Your Business podcast. Please see the show notes for links to our sponsors, our social media, and to learn more about today's guest.